Hello, everybody. My guest today is Sean Brown. He's building YCharts, which is a rapidly growing web-based financial data platform that helps investors make smarter decisions. Customers gain affordable access to comprehensive data, powerful visualization, and advanced analytics. The company is the one-stop shop for North American equity, mutual fund, ETF, and market data analysis. All right, Sean, you ready to take us to the top?
I am.
So are you ex-trader or what? How'd you get into this?
A long history in the financial services space, starting from being a software developer out of school for financial services, and then continuing on through running a few startups in the space.
Interesting. Okay, so walk me through who your customers are. Is it mainly kind of ETFs, mutual funds, or do you get into like the VC, private equity kind of stuff too?
So think of us like a Swiss Army knife for investment research. And that Swiss Army knife is perfect for wealth advisors and retail investors. So me and you, and those who might manage the money of very wealthy me and yous.
And how would they use YCharts to do that?
Okay, so a lot of different tools. One of the ones is in our name, charts. So great visualization to derive insights, communicate insights. Great ways to screen securities down to a few that you're interested in. Awesome ways to quickly do deep dive research on whatever might be of interest to you. And, a lot of ways to keep you abreast on markets, dashboards, news, et cetera.
All publicly traded companies?
Publicly traded mutual funds, ETFs, and stocks.
Okay, so just to be clear, your data set is all pulling from public companies.
Yeah, we are a tools company. We take the best data in the market, give it a personality through some great tools, and then have some amazing customer support. But we are not a data company ourselves.
I'm talking about like there's a lot of companies that will do this kind of thing for private, especially private SaaS companies. You're not private. You're only doing public markets.
We're doing public markets,
okay,
correct.
Very good. All right, and then help me understand what people pay for this thing. On average, what are they paying per month?
Anywhere between $1,200 per year to $4,800 per year.
Okay, between $1,200 and $4,800. And what are the difference in those price points?
Usually the high-end price point is for those that may currently be using a Bloomberg terminal, probably an institutional investor. It's all the bells and whistles available, all the data, every capability. At the low end is more tailored towards students or retail investors. And it has what we think is the perfect features for them, but it is short of what you'd get as a professional.
Interesting. Okay, and then put this on a timeline for me. When did you launch it?
2009, the company came into being. I've actually been on board for 2.5 years.
Okay, so what happened 2 years ago where they needed a CEO to come in? Sean, what happened 2 years ago when they needed a CEO to come in?
It was a stage where they needed somebody to take the company to the next level. The founder is still a board member, a good friend of mine, and helps in a great visionary capacity. So it was more of a blending at the perfect time, an inflection point for the company.
Did you come in with a VC round like you and EIR somewhere or no?
I didn't.
Okay, so is the company bootstrapped today?
No, the company has raised $14.5 million over 3 rounds, and the last time we took on any money was 2015.
Okay, that means you're raising right now or you're selling. Which one is it?
Neither. We're cash flow positive, and are quickly moving to the 10 million ARR threshold. We just crossed about. We finished 2018 a little bit north of 8 million in ARR, so we are self-funded.
And what did you do last month?
Last month, we'll do somewhere north of 700K in MRR.
Okay, and where were you exactly a year ago?
Exactly a year ago, we were 35% below that. And
so that's about, call it 570, something like that.
Yep.
Okay, good. So healthy growth. And then how many customers are you working with today?
4,000. A little bit more of half of them are professionals. The rest are either retail or a smattering of other types of customers.
Interesting. Okay, so where's most of the growth coming from? Expanding old cohorts or adding new logos altogether?
Really good question. It's a balance of the two. Probably 75% of the growth is new logos. 25% is from expanding the footprint. And we either expand the footprint by selling them into higher tiers, or we've so tickled a few people in an institution that we're able to take on a larger number of seats at an institution.
Interesting. And what's churn look like? Obviously in a SaaS company, that's critical.
Churn right now is about 15% annually, coming down from a few years ago. We were in the high 30s.
How have you made a tool like this sticky?
My secret to sticky is be focused. Don't try to be all things to all people. If you really know that user persona and you understand their workflows really well, you can put great features and great services in your offering and compel them to stay with you.
Interesting. Okay, so 15% annual revenue churn or logo churn?
15% annual MRR churn.
Okay, revenue churn. And then on that same cohort, what's expansion on that same base?
Expansion is, I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't have it off the top of my head. I'd say we're probably doing on average 10 to 12% increase by cohort.
So you're just below 100% net revenue retention?
Yeah, we're in January we were probably at the equivalent of less than 1% net churn.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. That's not bad. Very cool.
I'd like to get better than that, but we're on a trajectory towards that.
Yeah. How do you draw? I mean, so here's a nice thing. You're setting up a customer base that have plenty of budget. So it's just a question of like, what products do you invent to then upsell against? The price point you told me is actually fairly cheap. I thought you were going to say something way higher, like $100,000 ACV averages. I mean, if you were going to build a $100,000 product for this same cohort, what would you build?
The cohort we sell to wouldn't buy.
Really?
$100,000 product. The neat opportunity we'd have, though, I presume you have heard of the Bloomberg terminal and fact sets, et cetera. They're gonna be charging you $20 to $25K per seat per year. We think we've got 90% of the functionality for a fifth of the price. And so what would I do if we went up market to people who had $100,000 budgets? A couple bells and whistles around fulfillment and ties into a couple of their ERP systems, but largely the same capabilities. Interesting.
Okay. And then how aggressive are you being in terms of fully weighted CAC to get a new, call it $4,000 per year account?
Our CAC, our payback period is about 8 months.
Okay, that's great.
And our retention, once for our average customer life cycle is about 58 months. Yep. So the long and short is once we have engaged with the customer, there's a real good chance they're going to stick around with us and a real good chance they're going to stick around a long time. Yep,
no, that's great. 8-month payback period is obviously healthy. And then flesh out the team for me today. How many people?
46.
All based where? In Chicago?
2/3 in Chicago. Most of the rest are in New York City, and then just a couple home office people in a few other locations.
Very interesting. And do you have an inside sales team at this price point, or is it too cheap to give a commission on the sales price point?
We are inside sales.
Okay.
We are a mix between outbound and inbound, where your typical SDR capability, which is assess the prospects and then pass it on to an account executive who will work through a demo, a free trial, and then potentially a close.
Yep. Who are you competing with most closely besides Bloomberg Terminal?
A lot of 800-pound gorillas at one end of the spectrum: Bloomberg, FactSet, S&P, Cap IQ, and a few others. At the low end of the range, there's Yahoo Finance, Google Finance, and some free solutions on the market. We try to bring the up market down by saying you can get almost all the capabilities on a mobile web, easy GUI approach for a fraction of the price. A down market, we're saying you get what you pay for. It's fun and easy to use, but thin capabilities. How about you spend a few dollars and increase your investment returns?
Yep. Very good. Makes a lot of sense, man. Let's wrap up here, Sean, with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Just got done reading a book that I love called Badass by a woman named Kathy Sierra. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
Hate to be trite, but I love Reed Hastings and Jeff Bezos in terms of disrupting a market that has been done one way and rethinking it. I love the fact with Netflix that they're building a culture that's pretty unique too.
Yep. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building the company?
We've really loved app queues for helping digitize the way our customers interact and learn while they're trying to get familiar with our software, so we don't need people to guide them through it.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
About 6.5.
That's good. And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
A married wife of 14 years, 2 kids, and a dog.
That's great. And how old are you, Sean?
I am 50, just turned the other day.
Congratulations. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
I think what I wish I knew is I wish I had our software, and I wish I could have seen that over a 30-year period. If I bought Home Depot, 10K into Home Depot and 10K into Amgen, I'd have a little bit north of 10 million in the bank right now. And I wish I'd told myself that.
Guys, there you have it from Sean. Again, building Y charts, 4,000 folks paying him about $175 a month right now, doing 700 grand a month in revenue, up from 570 grand a month just a year ago. So healthy growth, cash flow positive, 14.5 million bucks raised last round back in 2015. So again, healthy today, 46 people between Chicago, New York, and remote locations, 15% annual revenue churn. That's gross. Call it 12, 13% expansion. So maybe 98% net revenue retention, 8-month payback period. So healthy growth engine today, and lifetime value over 58 months or 58 grand. Sean, thank you so much for taking us to the top.
Thanks, bud.